This is a very concise overview of an ONTAP cluster. Nodes. A NetApp system or controller is called a node. A node runs an operating system called ONTAP. A single node is not highly available because if you lose the node, you lose access to your data. The HA pair. Two nodes can form an HA pair. The two nodes are tied together via the HA interconnect. An HA pair is highly available because if you lose one node, you do not lose access to your data. Storage. A node is connected to one or more disk shelves. A disk shelf contains drives, and the drives can be hard disk drives or solid-state drives. Drives are assigned to the node as spare disks. Spare disks can be grouped together into a disk group. Then they become data disks. The disk group is called an aggregate. The aggregate offers redundancy by a RAID level. The RAID level can be RAID 4, RAID DP or RAID TEC. RAID 4 is single parity, RAID DP is dual parity, and RAID TEC is triple parity. Aggregates can be grown, but they cannot be shrunk. Client data is stored in the form of flexible volumes in the aggregate. A flexible volume is a logical entity that reserves space in the aggregate. Flexible volumes can be grown and they can be shrunk. Storage failover. The nodes in an HA pair are connected to the same disk shelves. The drives from one node can be taken over by the other node. The other node is referred to as the HA partner. If one HA partner fails, the other HA partner takes over the aggregates of the failed HA partner. Cluster. A node is always part of a cluster. A cluster can be one single node. A cluster can be one single HA pair. And a cluster can be a collection of HA pairs. The absolute maximum number of HA pairs is 12. Networking. All nodes in the cluster are connected by a cluster interconnect network. A single node needs no cluster interconnect. The cluster interconnect is for cluster configuration data and cluster heartbeat and more. Cluster management is done via the cluster management network. The data network is for clients that want to store data. A cluster management network and data network can be one single physical network. The cluster interconnect is always a separate and private network. IP addresses are part of what is called a logical interface. A logical interface is configured upon a port, and ports can be virtual or physical. Virtual ports are interface groups and VLANs. Physical ports are network interface cards. Interface groups are collections of physical ports. And VLANs can be configured upon an interface group and they can be configured upon physical ports. Storage virtual machines. Storage virtual machines are at the heart of a NetApp cluster. The cluster itself is a storage virtual machine. The nodes are storage virtual machines. And client data is stored in a data storage virtual machine. A data storage virtual machine is a collection of logical interfaces and flexible volumes. And finally, storage protocols. Next to lifts and volumes, a data storage virtual machine also runs one or more storage protocols. Supported storage protocols are NFS, CIFS or SMB, iSCSI, Fibre Channel and Fibre Channel over Ethernet. NFS and CIFS are NAS protocols, and iSCSI, Fibre Channel and Fibre Channel over Ethernet are SAN protocols.